good morning to you wherever you're watching us from. This is Morning Express. My name is Trix Ingado. As you've seen, there is a lot to discuss on the headlines, and we're going to be tackling that and much more. This being a Monday, we shall also have sports chat for you later on, brought to us by Robin Toskin. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Yes, and well, it is a good morning. I hope you had yourselves a great weekend. On a Monday, we normally take time just to look and reflect on what's happening, particularly politically speaking, and there's been quite a lot. We'll start off with the headlines, which Trix Ingado is going to be handling. Then later on, we're going to be looking at the way it is, and we'll be weighing in on quite a number of aspects and areas which we feel would possibly be of interest to many of us, and just looking at what the political pundits have to say about that. But as usual, we have a question that we'd like to engage you in, which is what we call the Twitter poll.
Right. This morning, we'd like you to tell us on Facebook or Twitter, do you think the term of the BBI task force should be extended to help iron out contentious issues? Do you think the term, the BBI task force, should be extended to enable iron out contentious issues? Get on Twitter, tell us what you think, and we will be sampling your views as the show goes along. But before that, we're going to take a look at what's making headlines across board. Daily Nation, The Standard, among other newspapers. And joining me for that is Joe Mutombo, former Mwingi Central Member of Parliament. Welcome to the show. As well as Ambrose Wedder, a lawyer and a regular here on Morning Express. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. Now, let's start off on that BBI note. On the Daily Nation this morning, you're being told the BBI report is ready. Now prepare for the referendum, and this is being covered on page 5 of the Daily Nation. Do you think it is time for the referendum? Are we ripe and ready for this endeavor? I'll start with you, Honorable Mutombo.
You asked me about referendum. I've been the advocate for change of the constitution since I was elected as a member of parliament. And my reason behind it was the wage bill. And I looked at the constitution we have and the institution we have around and the money we spend against what we collect, and I felt it was necessary to change the constitution. That being said, today we are being treated to a narrative of changing constitution because of so many other things.
Right.
So I totally believe that the time is ripe. We need to change the constitution, and there's no two way about it. The way the constitution is drafted, it cannot be altered in parliament. It has to go through a referendum.
Yes.
So the question of whether we'll have a referendum or not, that's a straightforward answer. We must have a referendum because this is a Mwananchi document, and Mwananchi must approve what is being amended.
Absolutely. And this question that you're asking you this morning on Twitter, and we encourage those who are online to actually watching at home and to actually engage us online. We're asking you, do you think the term of the BBI task force should be extended to help iron out the contentious issues? Now, Honorable Mutombo, do you think this is something that should be done so that everything is streamlined?
No, I don't believe, I don't think that the time should be extended. One, they're telling us that the report is ready. So if the report is ready, that means they had agreed.
Yes.
So if it is ready, why are you extending? Number two, do we really have time to extend? And if we do extend, that means we may not have the referendum before coming election.
Yes. Mr. Wedder, I'd like you to get in on this conversation about the BBI. We're told we should prepare for the referendum because the report is ready. Meanwhile, there are some certain contentious issues which might necessitate the extension of the BBI task force. Do you agree?
Well, I would tell you that the question is, what are our priorities?
Yes.
What are our challenges? What are our pains? Where are we going and where are we coming from and what do we want to do? We are going to face a serious cash crunch, depression, economic depression, joblessness, high rates, all manner of problems. I really do not know whether there's a comma in the constitution that when it's amended, money will flow freely and jobs will increase and manufacturing will expand. I think we have our things upside down. Even the original idea of amending the constitution
Right.
It was mainly to add jobs, to give positions to people. It was not that Kenyans really need to amend the constitution to create more jobs, to have affordable quality health care. So talking about BBI at this time when we are holed up in our houses and we don't know whether we'll be alive tomorrow is actually a form of sickness in leadership.
Yes.
We should not be, we should be talking about in the post-COVID, how are we going to create jobs? How are we going to rebuild this economy? How are we going to have money flowing, small businesses that are collapsed? That's what we are talking about. Are we going to have another campaign and other millions of shillings being poured around because people want positions to be divided? I think God should come down and save us from these people who are scheming for positions. It is not our priority at all today. I don't think now, like an individual would be budgeting for elections, how I would win this election and change that constitution and change that. So, Mr. President, we still have the 4 agenda items. 2 years, 4 agenda items, nothing much has been done. That is where we are. And even Kenyans who are talking about, amend the constitution so that we get this. The constitution will not bring food on your table. What will bring food on your table is a strong economy, opportunities in the economy. So stand up and tell leaders, this is what we want. We didn't elect President Uhuru because we had issues with the constitution. We elected him because we want a lot of good food, we want jobs, and we want security, and we want a stable institution. If we miss that and now we are dancing BBI, I think something is wrong with us.
Thinking past that, do you think we are setting ourselves up for a sort of disappointment and disillusionment, if, especially for the electorate, if we do actually peg our hopes on this particular document?
Yes, I think that there will be, because in that document I just see them proposing new seats, give premiership to so-and-so, give this seat to so-and-so, because we have created a narrative that if some people are making noise, then the country is not moving. If some people are not in government, the country is not moving. If some leaders were not elected, the country is not moving. We have actually gotten it wrong. So the people will have hope. The people will think, now once Honorable Raila is in government and Honorable Kalonzo is in government and Honorable Mudavadi is in government and all of us have a bunch in government, then once things are there, we will move. But you'll go back home and you find there are no jobs. People have graduated from universities and colleges, no jobs. The depression, the post-COVID depression is deep with us. And then I don't know who we will blame. Or they'll give us another red herring. From that one, now they'll give you something. Maybe if we kill Joe Mutombo, then the country will be better. Maybe. But the truth is, let us face the economic facts and move with building the economy. The tourism sector is dead. We need to rebuild it, not add more leaders on the eating table. We have had governors. Very few of them are performing. Majority of them are doing gilly dance. They're dancing up and down and changing good uniforms and doing their nails very nicely. But nothing much is going on. So the people are hopeful, but as long as we are putting in the wrong work, there'll be nothing to wait for.
It's the same leadership. Now, Honorable Mutombo, I'd like to draw your attention to the top story on the Standard. You told Raila scoops Ruto's Plum House slots. Orange Party goes on for the 40 chunks of Jubilee meal on offer after the purge of DP's ally. And when you look at the actual story on page 6, we are told about Raila Kalonzo allies reaping from that Jubilee purge, and we saw those agreements that were signed by parties that were usually outliers, and now they are conjoined with the Jubilee party. What do you make of this? Is this expected, and what do you think it means moving forward?
One thing this headline makes to me, it makes me walk in this street of Nairobi and in Ukambani with my head upright. Because it is what I've been telling the opposition, especially my good friend from Ukambani, Kalonzo Musyoka. I sang to the canvas, let us join the government. And they refused. They said that I'm auctioning the community. I was called all the kind of names. I was insulted. They refused even to elect me because they were saying, Jubilee is bad. Uhuru is not good man. Today, the same Uhuru, whom I told them, please let us work with Uhuru, they are now praising him with all kind of hymns. I feel vindicated for what I've been advocating for. So what I can tell my people is that it is not a must. It's Abros should tell us. When somebody says something which is wise, we need to follow.
Right.
The whole thing, and I don't like the adding of standard. When they say Wiper goes for scrums, it's like Wiper got the
leftovers.
The leftovers.
Yeah.
They are getting leftovers because they did not listen to me.
Earlier
because
on.
they are coming in too late. Raila was very clever. He saw it coming and he thought, he saw it is not wise to stay in the cold. So what are we being told today by this headline? That everybody fights for the government and every politician fights to win, to be in the government, not to be in the opposition.
Right.
And
So
this is what I've been telling Kambas all through.
Yeah. And
So I feel vindicated by what is going on today.
now, speaking of that sort of unity, we are told Irungu Kang'ata, the Senate Majority Whip, this morning has been quoted saying that he is under specific instructions to make sure that leadership in parliamentary leadership reflects the face of the nation. Is this a very good sign? I think that would be very good as we try and move towards a sort of unity. Mr. Weda, what do you make of that?
Well, I don't understand what is called the face of the nation.
I think diversity.
I don't know whether if a Luo is there and then a Kamba is there, then a whatever is there, then the face of the nation is achieved. Then I really think there is some work that Parliament is supposed to do. Specific work assigned to them by the Constitution. And then it grows into a product for the people of Kenya. Now that work is done through efficiency and properly. You toss it back and say, when the Parliament or when Senate was not in the face of Kenya, as my brother Irungu Kang'ata is saying, I don't know what we missed that we are now going to get if you put my good brother Senator Kajwang on this committee, you put Faki on that committee, and you put Mutombo on this committee. How that is going to change when there is no money? No money to do projects, no money to do things because the economy has shrunk. I really think this is voodoo thinking to hoodwink us Kenyans that, oh, when I see a fellow. Some of us come from communities that have had, we have held the premiership, we have held various cabinet positions, but it does not translate to anything in the village. And if you don't have a job, you don't have a job. If you don't have opportunities, you do not have opportunities. I really think my brother Kang'ata and the team should focus on making the economy strong. Good work that makes us better. Not about giving jobs to ODM, removing people from here, putting them there. 2 years are remaining. We are yet to see the 4 agenda items. That's what they should be talking about. Now they are all quiet, waiting. Oh, Mr. President, Mr. Irungu Kang'ata, please give me this position, give me this committee. The committees are just for the MPs to earn extra money and then to use public vehicles and to look big. But for the Kenyan, the Wanjiku, there is nothing.
Right. Honorable Mutombo, do you think it's a question of do you think representation does not automatically result in productive leadership that would change the lives of the people at the grassroots level?
One thing I'm struggling to understand is when we are treated to the narrative of the face of Kenya, what is the meaning? What do they mean? If it is getting a Mukamba from Wiper to a committee is getting a face of Kenya, I totally disagree with that narrative because there's already existing Kambas in Parliament.
Yeah,
so it is not necessary that once you have one from Wiper, now you have achieved the national outlook. And when you get one from Maendeleo Chap Chap, you have not gotten the national outlook.
Yeah, he does say that the new team is comprised of competent, distinguished senators from the entire Kenya. So I think he's trying to
But
to
they
strike
are
a
the
balance.
same. We did not go to any new election.
Yeah,
they are the
leaders.
same senators we elected last general election.
Right.
Either you come from whatever party, you are the same person. These are the same person. It is the same monkey, just different forest. It's different forest in terms of different arrangements of how people are embracing one another.
Yes.
So if we talk about national outlook, any person, irrespective of their stature, is, if somebody is being elected by the people where he comes from, he has all the responsibilities bestowed upon him by the electorate.
Right.
And that person, whether he's a big person in the party or a small person in the party, he should be given a chance to lead in whatever capacity. If he can be a chairman of any committee, let him be, not necessarily for him to be in a particular party which has a joint coalition with the government. And this is where I'm saying I'm getting trouble to understand what difference does it make if I am in parliament and you make Mutombo a chairman, and tomorrow you make Maazo a chairman. Right. What difference does it make? If it is a question of Kamba, we all Kambas, and we represent that region. What is the difference between having Kajwang and having another Luo from Luoland? They are all the same. To me, I think it is get who is closer to either Kalonzo or who is closer to Baba, right, so that can be seen that we are we are now we are having a national outlook. Yes. My appeal is that every person who represents a community or who represents its electorate is equal to the task, and he should be treated equally. So the issue of now we are having a parliament or a senate of national outlook because you got somebody from Wiper or you got somebody from ODM, to me it doesn't matter whether they are from 40 Kenya, it doesn't matter whether they are from Maendeleo Chap, or it doesn't matter whether they are from Party of National Unity, so long as that you have same ideas in Parliament for you to push the agenda of the government towards the one direction.
Now let's shift away from politics and look at the health. It's been a big issue right now with the COVID-19, and it has necessitated certain measures that have been quite tough on the economy. Now finally, end of virus lockdown in sight. This is according to the Daily Nation this morning. We're told days after President Kenyatta said domestic flights would resume soon. Health boss hints at a possibility of opening up the country, saying countries have largely met the conditions set for removing those restrictions. Do you think we are ready, Mr. Weda?
The country, if you look at it in terms of readiness to end the minimal lockdown, we have a minimal lockdown.
Yes.
It's not about the president feeling nice and feeling nice. It's about the figures and advice from the scientists. They say we will have our peak in August. The figures show that more and more people, the numbers are increasing. We look at other countries that have gone through it, like the US, they opened up, they closed down. Other countries. So the president may wake up and say, we like this, we like that, we like Tanzania is not doing this. But eventually, if we continue noticing and having the figures we're having today, then it would still not be appropriate. The minimum measures that have been taken have given us some positive respite. And it has enabled us, those who are in Nairobi, not to spread the disease in the villages. But we continue moving day and night. If you have a freedom of movement from 5 a.m. to 9, that is long enough unless you are going to dance malo malo at midnight. So looking at what we have, if I was sitting where the president is sitting, I would still hold on with the easing of some of these things, because otherwise we are going to experience it in Nagans. And we are weak, as our health system is so weak that if it is overrun, we will see many deaths. And here in Kenya, we are slightly more open. We are not like a neighboring country where you'll hide figures.
Right.
Here we will make so much noise that we will reveal this, and we will do cameras and all sorts. So, Mr. President, tread carefully. You have done so well. God has been good to us. It's good you have been listening. We have seen presidents who have refused to listen. Some are in Brazil, some are in big countries, some are neighbors. They have refused to listen, and you can see where their countries are going. Here, we have done so well. Kenyans, you have done so well, notwithstanding the difficult circumstances.
Honorable Mutombo.
I am persuaded with the way we are handling our situation. And it boils down to self-individual, to individual discipline. We have been treated with all the protocols to follow to avert this pandemic. And to me, I'm still getting some feeling that this thing will still be here with us. And if that is the case, our lives must continue. We are not going to lock ourselves in the house till Jesus Christ comes or till something happens. Ambrose keeps on talking about economy. For this economy to grow, there must be some manpower out there. People must do something for the economy to grow or to expand from where it is. It will not expand when you are in your house. If you did not risk or take that risk to come to KTN, we may be not getting this interview today. So you took a risk. Whichever means you came with, you are interacting with the people, but you are taking precaution. What is important for Kenyans to do is to follow the laid down procedures and protocols given by the expert. And if we do that, we can continue with our lives. The world is moving. People are doing their things. Yes, it is there. And what we don't know is the numbers which are out there. And I remember sometimes Trump saying that we have highest numbers because we tested so many people than any other country. How many people have we tested to know who has it and who don't have it? So those are the questions we need to carry and we need to ask ourselves as we move forward. So whether with the lockdown or without lockdown or with the minimal lockdown as Ambrose is referring it to, this problem and this pandemic is still here with us. And I can tell you, I have the feeling, and I'm persuaded, the people who are affected out there are more than what we are thinking, know, yes, or what we believe or is the numbers. We are getting these 200 numbers because we are testing only 2,000. Right. Suppose you test 50,000, what numbers will you get? The number will increase. So the pandemic is out there. What is important is for the Kenyans to follow the protocols so that if you have it, then you can heal. We have had so many recoveries being reported worldwide, not only in the country.
There's something to be said for personal responsibility.
We need as we move on. What you need to do is that you fly with a aircraft knowing that it can come down. But when the pilot takes the precautions, you go and you land safely. We drive our vehicles knowing that anything can happen. But once you drive safely, you reach your destination. Yes. So as we have it, let us move with it, but taking precautions.
True. And I'd like us to talk about this story before we run out of time. Mr. Weda, when there's a story about the 4 murders, chilling note left by a suspect when a mother turns on their child. 4 cheerful siblings summoned to their bedrooms and strangled one by one and laid side by side. This is on page 3 of the Standard. Armed with a confession note, police say their mother is the suspect. What do you make of this very chilling and sad story?
Very sad indeed, but let us appreciate we have the human being is in one stage of madness, is depression manifesting in various forms. Some people manifest it violently, some people want to commit suicide, some people want to kill, because the situation we are experiencing is a new, rare, something we have never experienced. So it is manifesting in various ways. And a mother faced with the kind of position she was, lost her job, and the future looked bleak. I think it is easier for somebody to think about death. It is important that as a society we look at how do we reach out for one another at this time. Instead of going around and dividing, people busy with how we divide the seats and budgeting money for referendum, BBI, we should actually have a kitty how we look at the psychological well-being of our fellow Kenyans, how we can cushion the law of the law, and how we look forward. This is what important. The president should be able to see this and say, that lady who was killing the children, she didn't mind about whether in the constitution there is something which needs to be amended. She was just looking at her future and seeing it is bleak. So
yes.
let us re-engineer ourselves to deal with this. Otherwise, we'll have more Kenyans dying, committing suicide, because we have got our things topsy-turvy, upside down, looking inside out. Instead of talking about jobs, we are talking about BBI, we are talking about referendum, we are talking about Senate seats, we are talking about committee seats. If our leaders who are supposed to be thinking about us, thinking how we need to reopen the churches so that we spiritually nourish one another, to put those protocols, to put ways that we can stand for each other, pray for each other. If we are not doing that, we are doing BBI, then you know the devil is fat.
Thank you very much for those sentiments. And on that note, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we shall be taking a look at the various and latest political developments